welcome to Dream It, Dare It, Do It, Live the Life You Want. I'm Jasmine, your host, and I have a new friend with me today, Veronica Ireland. Hi, Veronica.
Hey, Jasmine. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for accepting. It's like people, go, why are you inviting me? And I'm like, oh, it's just a vibe thing. I mean, I saw your face on the screen and I thought, come on in. So I just love it. I think it's fun because most of the time my vibes, not most of the time, all of the time, my vibes are correct, so thank you for accepting.
Yeah. Oh, no, it's a real pleasure. And I love hanging out. We've been hanging out together for a few weeks,
Yeah.
For sure. And this is great getting to know you. So, yeah.
Yeah. So to everybody listening, Veronica and I are taking Rob's class, or we just finished it actually, the class called Speak and Be Heard. And so we've hung out together for the past 6 weeks, which wasn't long enough, right?
Yeah.
We're talking to Rob about that. And there we saw so many things. And like I said, I saw her on the screen and I sent her a message and I said, okay, let's do this. I want you on the podcast. And so we had a chat before the podcast. And so everybody listening understands that, what I talk about is living the life you want. It's about, what do you truly want? It doesn't matter what anybody says, just do what you want. Right. And then we go through this phases of, there's things that I want that are intellectual. And then there are things that I want that are, actually what I truly want. And it's been really fun for me to notice that, that was actually intellectual. I wanted that intellectually. I didn't really want it, so that's been really interesting. But we had a conversation before the recording a few weeks ago, and Veronica made me see something. We were having a conversation about knowing the next step, I think. I don't even know what we were talking about, but you mentioned that you're letting the universe, it's not letting the universe, but you're listening to what the universe is telling you.
Yeah.
As to where you're going to go next.
I am. I mean, it's not, I had this sort of insight that made me see what was happening and made me realize how things really work. And it's funny when you talk about following, your dreams, your passion, going after the life you want. Even that, I think with most people, but I will speak for myself, as a concept, it felt really powerful. And, it was a big fat yes, but I realized that even that as a concept was an intellectual idea. And I never really understood what it really, really means to do that. What's at stake here? What is it that is required of me to allow my life to unfold, I guess, in that kind of direction? And what is it that, or even who is it that I'm being that is stopping that from happening? Because I know it's who I want to be and who I am and what I've always been working towards. But when I look back on life and reflect, I realize the phenomenal number of obstacles and limiting ideas about myself and insecurities that I have been feeding and believing and allowing myself to, essentially speaking, have a lot of internal conflict between who I know I am and what I want and how I was really living my life. And that also would result in quite a bit of confusion. Just confused about being in a body on a planet, because I really wasn't really sure what it was, where it was going. Nothing felt quite in its place unless I was in the present moment and living that. So it was this sort of real, I suppose, duality or polarized sort of existence that we both we all tend to live in life. And so I also want to say another thing, that when we try and define what it is we want, what it is we desire, whether we're trying to manifest a car or a home or a partner or a job or whatever it might be, or whether we're trying to manifest a type of experience, when we come at that from a conceptual idea that we have of what it is we want to manifest, it's still limited because it's bound by concept. So we can only consciously desire what we want within the limitations of our thinking, right? When our thinking is actually limitless. So rather than, manifestation works, the law of attraction and all the rest of it. I mean, it's not a big thing that I follow, but it has a lot of, proof out there and credence if you know what to do. But really, why wouldn't we go through life asking the universe to show us what we want? And to come at that without attachment and without too much definition, because the universe, my understanding of it is when you ask for something, the universe rearranges itself to give it to you. That's the nature of creation and the nature of being who we are. And I'm only just seeing this at a deeper level. So I'll say the moment my realization was I was upgrading my mobile phone. And, it was a disastrous process that didn't happen, even though we went through the process. They'd say, you get your phone the next day. I'd phone the day after and say, where's my phone? And they'd say, what phone? And so nothing was in on the system. And this sort of went on for about 2 weeks. And it was just one comedy of errors after another. And every time, they cocked up the process, basically, I'd say, well, this isn't right. This isn't good enough. I want something else. I want something thrown in, and whatever that might be. So I ended up with a great package for the same price. But one of the things that they threw in, I'd asked for Roam Abroad in the EU. And what I got was not only Roam Abroad in the EU in the basket, but Roam Abroad in Canada, America, Mexico, Australia, and New Zealand. And it was stewing in me a little bit. Oh, I realized I'm going to be traveling, right? And so then it dawned on me that if I really open my eyes to the things that happen in my life and the things that take place, that's actually an indicator of a whole banquet of opportunities to which I can move in the direction of without having to do the hard work of trying to manifest anything. Right? So we can do it from our will or from our head or even from our conceptual minds. Even if we're pushing the envelope there, it's still got its limitations. Why not just see what's presenting and allow yourself to go so far beyond your thinking to realize that anything's possible and it can be yours if you want it, without saying, well, I can't travel for this reason and I can't do this for that reason and I can't. It's like, okay, I'm going to be traveling. I'm not now sitting here making traveling plans.
Yeah.
I'm going to see what shows up because I'm pretty sure it's going to involve some travel.
Yeah. Just so you know, I live in Canada.
Listen, roaming wouldn't keep me away, right? Free roaming charges, but great. Yeah. Yeah. I have many very special friends in Canada, so I'll be definitely visiting there.
There you go. Well, I thought I really love that insight that you shared with me, and I thank you. And I hope that everybody that's listening is actually hearing it, because I'm going to share with you what happened to me after our chat. So after we've had this chat, and I really thought that's actually a cool way of looking at it. Well, I've been super busy. I've got, quite a bit of clients, and, it's kind of like, it was just piling up and piling up. And I was like, and I was getting, I live alone and I work alone, and I'm like screaming at my computer, and I'm like, throwing things. And I'm like, okay, this is not me. Obviously, I'm tired. I'm stressed. I got something. I decided I'm going to take vacation. So I wrote down, so I didn't it was like literally, okay, that's it. I'm going on vacation. I'm just unplugging. That's it. So I wrote a paper down, and I wrote down, okay, I'm going to be off from the 8th of August to the 22nd of August. These are going to be my dates. And then I started sending out messages to clients, and I would say, hi guys, I'm sorry. I didn't say I'm sorry. I said, I'm going to be taking off from the 8th, and I'll be back in the office on the 29th. And I'm sending these messages out from the 8th, and I'll be back in the 29th, and I'll be back on the 29th. And I'm just sending this the messages. And I think after the third or fourth message, I'm going, wait a second. I'm not coming back on the 29th. I said it's going to be from the 8th to the 22nd. And I was like, and then our conversation popped in, and I was like, looks like it's not 2 weeks. It's 3 weeks,
Yeah.
and I didn't change it. Like in the past, I would have changed it. I would have said, oh no, actually I made a mistake. I'm coming back on the 24th. No, I'm not. Like, there's no way. I didn't change it. And I'm happy that I didn't change it. I actually extended it to the 1st of September. And just so you know, this is the 1st of September for you guys who are listening, because the episode is going to publish on the 1st of September, but we're actually recording it mid-August. And so I had to, something happened, and I'm dealing with what happened, like I took a last minute vacation. Well, I treasure my clients. I love working with them. So the ones that were okay with coming back only in September, I've done. And then the ones that need me in August, I'm just pre-planning it. So I still have a little bit of work here and there, but I'm planning things, and I'm calmer, and I'm taking care of my body, and I'm taking care of my health. But it was just so cool to be like, yeah, okay, so that's actually, it's like, some people may call it Freudian slip, whatever they want to call it, but it was kind of like I heard it in that moment.
Yeah. And that's the essence, I think, of I want to say living with possibility, right? Without trying to control everything or construct everything, because we have no idea what's around the corner. We have no idea when we take a certain action, not only why we're taking it and what it will reveal, but what the universe is helping us to avoid. Whether it's a traffic jam or whatever that might be. These are the things that we'll never know. We mostly never know anything. And so really getting a sense of the real reality of the dance in life between our own intellect and the intelligence of life, and knowing, just sitting to allow it to reveal itself to you, so you can feel that it's a real thing. And that might be with reflection on circumstances, or hindsight, or by experimentation to really live and see it in the moment. But then just starting to get that sense of with this dance, when to lead and when to be led. And that's just, we always know it, and you just knew it. And, you typed the 29th instead of the 22nd, which I love. I picked that up immediately. I was wondering where it was going to go.
Yeah.
And it's just going to serve you. You have to trust that it's going to serve you, even if you don't ever find out why. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because nothing matters, and anything could happen And there's an infinite variety of realities that we step into in any given moment with any thought we ever have. And the worst, it sounds a bit harsh, the worst way to live, I was going to say, was stuck in the same reality, right? Over and over and over again, when we're in this cosmic sandpit of possibility and events. And it's not always easy to live from that space. Of course, we get caught up and stuff happens in life. But every now and then, it's like that 1%, just that tiny notion of it coming into your awareness is worth a lifetime of not experiencing that. And that's the thing, is to just have this conversation around these types of events, ground them and ground them and ground them further into our life until almost everything that happens is really okay.
Yeah. That I'm going to come back to speak and be heard. So what I'm noticing, and it's not only that I'm doing, I do also on Saturdays, we do a thing called song share. So we're a group of people like that sing a cappella every Saturday. So we meet on Zoom and we all sing a song. So we have a theme and everybody sings something, right? Beautiful. And I've been noticing more and more, like I've noticed in Speak and Be Heard, and I've noticed in that, where if we can just get out of our way and just say, okay, I'm going to do this, and let go of all the thinking that we have about the act of doing whatever it is, whether it's, oh, I'm too shy, or I can't do this, or I'm going to suck, or whatever thinking that you may have in that moment. If you can just be with the fact, oh, I have that thinking, but still do it, and do it constantly, every time it becomes easier. Because you get to see how your thinking makes no difference. It doesn't matter what you think. It really doesn't. Just keep doing what you're doing. What you're thinking is like what you're thinking. Who cares? In that moment, you feel like singing a cappella and doing it, then sing a cappella and do it. You feel like speaking and be heard, then speak and be heard, and just do it more and more. And then every time it's going to get better and better.
And I don't know about you, but the more we do that, and the more we play in our own truth, and the more we follow what inspires us, or even the more we take action to open to a deeper level of inspiration, right? People notice, the people who know us and love us, they notice, whether obviously or subtly, but it definitely impacts them. There's just this energetic transference or something that takes place, and you just notice, the calmer we are, and the more okay we are with what's taking place, without having to, do anything or say anything. It changes things, because again, we underestimate our power and how powerful we are as individuals. So as we open up to these possibilities and this way of life, we're literally opening up to, who we are and who we're meant to be. And it's serving the whole. Because my experience is we are in co-creation with all the dimensions of life, of which we have no conscious awareness of, the majority of them, because we're in this human dimension at the end of the day. But I know I had an experience, again, where I can't remember, but I made a small decision. It didn't feel significant, but I did something. And then I was in my morning journeying, and I realized that the decisions we make here open up portals, for new possibilities and new opportunities to come through, that then come back here and then we get to see them and act on them or not. But with everything that we do, it opens up something new there. So there's this genuine co-creation taking place with life. But we have to be okay to not understand it, because otherwise we can't get there if we're in here about it. Wanting, why? Well, how does that work? And what does it mean for me? And what does that mean who I am, that I'm a powerful being? All of that stuff is like, they're shutdown mechanisms. But who cares? Who cares who we are if the only end result is that we're getting to live our dream, or living in a little bit more joy, or following our nose, or even walking away from the people that don't feed us anymore, that don't, that we don't vibe with anymore. I mean, there's just so many different possibilities that come from it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that we were put on this earth to be happy. I think that, we're made to be happy. We're made to love. And then we get caught up in our thinking, and then, our love gets covered by this thought, because thought can become solid and just hide the light that is our love.
I mean, I have to say, I feel like happiness is a human concept.
Yeah.
And our expression and even our idea of love is also a human concept. Everything that we're in has to be a human concept. But I definitely believe that we're here. It's a really tough word. It took me ages to get my head around it. Literally to surrender to the magic of life and appreciate it in all its guises. The definitions that we put in it, the good, the bad, the ugly, but to know that everything that's happening to us is in service of our own evolution, because we are all evolving and we can't help but, evolve, and it's happening faster and faster. And so, that has, puts us into what we consider tricky places. It's like, it feels really unfamiliar or really unknown, but the longing inside is a longing that we can't deny, right? Because we can't deny who we are, and we're longing to be who we are, and yet we're afraid of who we are. Which is all great fun, really. I mean, if you don't take anything too seriously.
Yeah, it is. It is interesting to see how happiness is it is still an intellectual concept, and it's a concept when everybody has their own definition of happiness.
Exactly.
The definition is different for everybody else. So if it's different for everybody else, then how could it be truth? How can it be,
And it's not really a state of being either, happiness. It's just a fleeting moment, right? Like everything. It's just we putting something on it that it isn't really on. I like telling terrible jokes. That makes me happy. I got one. I heard a new one the other day. Do you want to hear it?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Why don't wizards and witches make babies?
I do not know.
Because wizards have got crystal balls.
Okay, I like the terrible. I like the terrible jokes.
Sorry, everyone.
I think the Americans call them the dad jokes.
Oh God, I mean, there's a lot of them. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that we all have our own thing, like our own thing that makes us happy, and it doesn't mean that it's right. It doesn't mean that it's wrong. It doesn't mean anything really. It just means that's what you like.
Well, and to me, it's just, it's much more than that. It's just, if we could only remember who we really are, right? And the only thing we've got to do, if that's what we really want, is ask for it. And the universe will present, if we have our eyes open, in the strangest of ways, like a very terrible, incompetent phone upgrade team, presented me with this, amazing idea. And you know what, who knows, maybe I won't be traveling, but I bet I am, we'll check in, right? Either way, but even so, it's a possibility. So it's just, showing up with nothing on it, nothing on anything. It's a really, really great way to be. And it's, it's when we're in connection, right? It's when we're feeling, we feel resilient in that space. We feel unstoppable. We feel creative. We feel, well, we just don't have any thinking.
Yeah.
About or problematic thinking, I should say. We get to be in our authenticity and just live our lives and connect with other humans, and everything else is a judgment.
Yeah, there's thinking that gives you expansion, and there's thinking that shrinks you. Right? There's kind of like, there's this, I feel that this energy, and I think for me, like, I love to notice the shrinking, the shrinking one. I love to see, oh man, no wonder, because if I look for myself, my whole thing was about freedom and harmony. I've been wanting harmony and freedom. That's basically it. So I don't want fighting. I don't want, like that kind of thing. And so noticing, when I'm the thinking I'm feeding in that moment is making me close up, has been extremely powerful for me, has let me open up. Because every time that I would open up, like, let's say I'd have this thought, I love people, but you can't love somebody because, the world is out to get you, because, this is what's got, and then I would close back up. And then I'd be like, no, but I love people. And then other thinking would show up, and then I'd close up, and then I'd love. And, I see it in my clients. I talk to clients, and they like, I can see the flower. It's almost like the flower, blossoming, the flower like you have in the back here, blossoming and opening up to life. And then all of a sudden them telling me something, and I could feel it close it back up. It's just like very, very flagrant to me now. I kind of like, it shows up for me in my face,
And I think, you are harmony, right? You are freedom.
Yeah.
That's who you are, right? At your core. And you can know, it's not a concept saying that, right? It's not just an idea that says that, because what we long for, we have to have known within some dimension of our existence, our life as a soul or as our human, because you couldn't possibly long for something you didn't already know. It wouldn't be in your field, right?
Yeah.
So that you have pure, unadulterated freedom, and you live a harmonic existence, right? Because that's what your human existence craves, wants you to return to. And so when we get into that point where I always figure, if I'm going to return, I strive towards that, but the best thing is not to strive, but to accept that that's in me anyway. So I don't need to long for it anymore. I don't need to want it. I can just accept all of my limitations and take those moments when I'm feeling harmonized and free, and just remember that's who I am, and that's who it is. So, the scientists, and, we can ignore the statistics, but I like the essence of the comment that they say, if you compress all matter that exists in this universe, or all the universes they've ever discovered, whatever it is, and compress it all and you set it as a percentage to, they call it dark matter, but to all that is. The physical is only 4%. So there's 96% that it's everything else. So I think we could look in our lives and realize whatever we see that's physical is only 4% of what we get to experience, right? And similarly with our thinking. But it works the other way around with our thinking, interestingly enough, is, again, the scientists have worked out between the 60 and 90,000 thoughts that we have a day. Approximately 95, I'm going to say 96% of them are on repeat, which means that we only receive thought from our true self, from our new self, new thoughts and new thinking. We only got room to maybe receive that 4% in our existence, right? So, if you turn that around, if we could just look towards the 4% and, ultimately shifting the balance, so that 4% of our thinking is on repeat and 96% of our thinking and our ideas of what life is and how we show up is from our true selves, from that invisible space, that from where we came and who we really are. Well, I find that really hopeful, and not only hopeful, but just intriguing and curious. And I know I'll never get to it because there wouldn't be any point being here, right? If that was the ultimate goal. But the goal is to see that in us and then be okay. More okay, anyway.
Yeah, so in the end, just be okay, people. Everything's okay. It's all okay.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it's not. And depending on what, where we're at, there are lots of things that aren't okay on the surface in the outside world. But inside of us, we have what we need in order to.
Yeah, how I see it, how I see it is it's okay. It's okay how it is, and it's okay how it is not.
Yeah.
Right. That's what I mean by it. It's like, yeah, it's not harmonic right now. It's not lovely right now, but that's okay also. And that's a trap of mine. Like, it's like, I want harmony. And if there's no harmony, then my immediate mood changes, instead of just accepting, okay, well, it's not harmonic right now, Jazz. It's, so I get caught up in that, quite a few times, but that's my journey to see and to look at and to notice.
And then I think, when you come from a lens where it's not just your intellect, your personal mind at play here, you apply the lens of the phenomenal universal intelligence of life. Even though it doesn't look okay, how can it not be? How can it not be?
Veronica, thank you so much for accepting my invitation.
Oh, thank you, Jasmine. I've loved it.
It's already, believe it or not, we've already busted our time.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's why in the beginning I used to do an hour, but then, these people listening don't necessarily want to listen to an hour. So I said, okay, let's cut it to a 30-minute thing. But yeah, it's all good.
Oh.
For people who would like to reach out to you, how could they do that?
Oh, thank you. They can find me at connecttowisdom.com, and the 2 is the number 2.
Oh.
Or Veronica Ireland on Facebook, or it's not terribly current, but Instagram is Imagination Spa.
Okay.
Yeah. So any of those will do. I'd love to hear from anyone. Come play in the cosmos and in humanity, in our human realms as well. That would be great.
Very cool. Well, thank you again for accepting my invitation.
Thank you, Jasmine.
And
the few conversations we've had, I've really enjoyed. I feel like, we could just talk about anything and go anywhere, right? And see what comes. And it's just, it's yeah, I love meeting people like you. So thank you.
Thank you. To everybody else, I'm going to say, have a great day and dream it, dare it, do it, live the life that you want. And see you next week. Bye-bye.